water supplied by a public municipality or a private well for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest, a friend of mine. I've known him all our lives, his life and all my life, and he's a great baseball player. Watched him grow up and play. He comes from a great family of baseball players and baseball coaches. Without further ado, welcome Wes Gill. Wes, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Wes, man, how's it going?
Going good, man.
What are you doing these days?
Working pretty much. I'm out of town mostly. I work over in Orlando all the time. So, long drives on the turnpike. And then when I get home, it's some type of baseball practice. Yeah. Got all three boys playing high school sports, and Parker just got finished with football, and now he's going into some fall baseball. So doing some practice with that a couple nights a week. So gotcha. Staying busy.
Staying out of trouble too, right?
Yeah, trying. That's hard.
Parker, right?
Right.
Okay. I saw him the other day, and I said, "That's a Gill right there."
Yeah.
He gets it honestly.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
He looks just like you.
Yeah, that's what they all say. So his mom disagrees sometimes, but I mean,
sorry about that. I didn't mean anything by it. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, like, it looks like a little Wes out there. I would see him, and I'm like, because he was on 12U, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, he's not on our 10U team. So I'm like, he's a little bit older. I'm like, that's got to be a Gill, right?
Yeah. He's not much bigger. He's one of the smaller ones there, but I mean, he's 11, fixing to turn 12 next month.
Gotcha. So. Okay. What are you doing over in Orlando? You said what do you do for work?
I'm an electrician, and so I work for a company. We do the lights and signs for the turnpike. Okay. So I'm on all the turnpike roads every day. So fun stuff. Great traffic every day. You gotta love that.
I bet you see some crazy stuff on the turnpike.
I do every day. Every day there's crazy wrecks. This morning, driving to work, there was a car and it was turned over right on its top. And the cops and everything were there just checking it out, and we just drive by, go to work. It's every day.
Can't do anything else about it.
Nope.
I was on the turnpike one time coming back from Disney. I had to take that quite a bit, and both lanes were blocked. And I said, well, there's nothing else to do. I'll pull my golf clubs out of the back of the car, and I was hitting golf balls over almost to 27, like just smack. And I said, when else can I do that ever again? This is great.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I have seen people out of their car throwing a football and stuff before when it's been dead stop. But
yeah, it's bad when they bring out the grill.
Oh yeah,
I got the Kings for commercials.
Yeah, it's bad. Just one day last week, same thing. I was driving northbound on the southbound side. It was backed up for at least 10 or 11 miles.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, I feel bad for y'all.
Yeah. And this is every day, man.
It's every day.
It's not like you get hit or miss where you can go and skip one day and you're like, okay, I don't have to do this for a couple of months. Right. It's every day.
It's every day. And the bad part is most of the construction is us. I mean, our companies are the ones, working on it. So
causing the scene.
Right. Yeah. So all the barrels and the concrete barriers, all that stuff, that's us.
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. What I always do is we kind of go back and we talk about sports or whatever. And I know I mean, baseball was your life pretty much. I know that's pretty much easy for anybody to say, but I could definitely say that coming from a family that was just eat, sleep, breathe baseball. I mean, literally. Where'd you find this love of baseball from?
Really, it's just, from a young age, I remember 3 or 4, started playing T-ball at 5 years old. But even at the young age, when I started playing then, my dad always loved to coach. He was my coach from growing up real young. But then 5, 6 years old, I remember going over to my grandma's house during the playoff time, and a huge Braves fan.
Yeah.
And so she was a Braves fan too. And so I would go over to her house and almost stay the majority of the playoffs, because during the 90s, the Braves were in it every single year. From 91 all the way through the 2000s, they were in the playoffs every year. So I used to just go to her house and we would watch as many games as we could watch. And so she's someone, my grandma, who really had gave me the passion for watching it.
Yeah.
And then like you said, my dad and my Uncle Wendell, both of them loved to coach and to play around and stuff like that. So just playing from a young age, as soon as I started, I just always loved it.
I've always wanted to ask you this. Did your dad make you like Dale Earnhardt, or?
My dad did love Dale Earnhardt.
God, he loved some Dale Earnhardt,
he
man.
did. I remember that everything was, black number 3, the Intimidator. He had his hat and jackets. He had,
even had the mustache like him.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I remember one time he bought the same pair of sunglasses that he had too, and we went to the beach. We were in Daytona, and he was wearing them out there, that with his cowboy hat on, and wave hitting right in the back and right off. And I don't think he had them for like a couple months. I was younger, but I remember they fell and they were gone.
There's no coming back from that.
I think that was the only pair of expensive sunglasses he ever bought. But
you live and you learn. I had a pair of Costas like that, and I bought them. I bought them in Fort Lauderdale when I was working for. What was the company we used to have with the credit cards?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
They changed names a couple times.
Probably for fraud purposes.
Right. Yeah.
No, I had bought a pair of glasses there, and I thought, man, these are awesome. They were like the glass ones too, so they were extra expensive. And then we went to Clearwater, and I lost some bad boys. A wave hit me, boosh.
Yeah.
Sideswiped me and lost them. So they're probably on a shark right now.
Absolutely, for sure.
Swimming around with a pair of coasters on. So baseball, man. We gotta talk about baseball today.
Okay.
I hope you don't mind talking about baseball.
No, I don't. I love it.
So you said you went back and you said T-ball. Who was your coaches at T-ball? Your dad and who else?
My dad always coached me. We had a couple different coaches. Chuck Vorbach helped him for a couple years during them. Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones.
Did you ever play for my dad?
I'm trying to remember. I think that he did help my dad coach one year. I was trying to remember. I was trying to look back for some of the pictures and stuff, but I'm pretty sure, because I think that's when, I first remember meeting your dad. Was around that time with, some of the coaching and stuff.
I remember my dad playing, he was coaching us T-ball. And a parent reminded me about this thing he used to tell the kids. He'd always tell the boys, all right, guys, 2 things to stay away from. That's women and credit cards. I'm like, we're fine. Right. 6 years old. I'm not looking for a credit score right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we didn't know how important that was.
Right.
He was trying to teach us something.
Yeah.
Outside the field.
Right. Dad and the old baseball shorts, the old baseball pants that were, they came about mid-thigh, and like some long socks.
Coach Hines from Mad TV.
Right, yes.
But those like bikey shorts or
right,
something?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm thinking about bringing those back.
Oh, man, you should do it. Dude, I bet my dad's got a pair still. He can let you wear them.
Oh, that'll be great.
Everything you only miss is a bicycle. You could look like one of the Tour de France.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You went to Webster, right? Webster Elementary School?
No, I was actually homeschooled.
Okay.
I went to my kindergarten year. I went to Webster Elementary.
Okay.
And then after that, from first grade all the way through, then I was homeschooled. I did play sports, at South Sumter for middle school and high school, but I was homeschooled the rest of the time. So
okay, so throughout your whole educational career, you were homeschooled.
Yes.
Okay.
And which was actually, a benefit. I remember, even younger, even probably 7-8 years old, because we were still living in Webster then. I remember just getting done with my schoolwork and stuff and being inside, and we had an old couch that had like a hardwood front on it. And I remember taking the tennis ball in my glove and just throwing it and bouncing it and coming back and just filling it for hours and hours like that. I mean, all the time. I know it had to drive my mom nuts, but I guess she let me do it for a while, because I remember doing it all the time when I was, 6, 7, 8 years old at the house.
You get the hand-eye coordination down.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't think it. I mean, I wasn't doing it for practice or anything. I just loved to do it.
Yeah.
And same thing. I remember going out in the yard and just throwing the ball up and, running and chasing it and trying to catch it and make diving plays and stuff like that. Yeah. And it was I just loved doing it. And I just loved always having a baseball in my hand.
Yeah. Well, that was back when kids would actually go outside and play. I mean, and the parents are like, all right, get outside. I don't want to see you.
Oh, yeah.
And you go do your thing. Don't come back till the street lights come on or it gets dark.
Yeah, we used to, during the summer and stuff, we'd be over at my grandma's house right in Webster, and it was probably 2 miles from the baseball field there, and we'd ride our bikes down there, me and my brother and my cousin Lee and a couple more. We'd ride down there, and we'd play 2 or 3 hours at the ball field and stuff, just playing pickup games with whoever else from the streets and stuff would show up, and we'd ride back. I mean, no cell phones, no adults, no anything like that. I mean, we were probably anywhere between 9 and 12 years old, and we'd just ride down there and play all day.
It was a simpler time back then.
It was, for sure.
I hate to sound like an old man, but it really was. I mean, you think about it. I mean, really, would you trust your kid to ride his bike down the road now?
I mean, I think I would trust my kids, but it's not your kids. It's everybody else that
trust that he would make it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing between, trying to cross the road and then the people, anywhere. Yeah, you can't really do it anymore.
No.
Especially, I mean, now, with the cell phones and stuff, my oldest one just got his driver's license, and we make sure he texts whenever he's leaving to go somewhere, texts when he's coming home, and everything like that. And I mean, we didn't even, when we first started driving, really didn't have that. I mean, it was we'd call if we were leaving somebody's house, but it wasn't like we had a cell phone on us 24/7. So
yeah, my parents got the it looks like the old Vietnam phone. They'd be calling in like airstrikes, so like Delta Bravo. Yeah, they need a LZ right here. I remember having that, but you know what? One of the best things about that was it never dropped a call, or you weren't like, where's the service at, bro? You were getting service. You could be in Croom in the woods, and you were getting service. That's why I was like, man, this thing is awesome.
I'll tell you a funny story about the beginning of cell phones in baseball. You remember Ron Berry?
Oh yeah.
Well, him and my dad were coaching together one year on All Stars, and he had cellular tech and everything like that. And they just came out with the car phones, that you actually hooked into your car and stayed in your car. So I don't remember where we were playing, but it was quite a ways away. So he took and installed one in my dad's truck so that he could call him on the way to the games to talk about strategy for the games. So he just put it in there for the All-Star season.
Nice.
So they could talk back and forth on the way there.
Nice.
And it was, I just thought that was one of the funniest things.
That is funny. And people take it, they take it for granted that these cell phones are just everywhere now.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can go to the convenience store and buy a little burner phone or whatever you call it. Just, get pick up something in a rush, But those things cost a lot of money. You have to like give your firstborn child and
right,
their DNA and everything else for it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I brought this up on the show before, but you're talking about football or baseball. Do you remember? Did you ever play cup ball?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I remember.
Did you hear me say that?
I remember you watching that one. Yeah, we used to play it. I mean, there at the Webster fields all the time because my brother is a couple years younger than me, so we would play a game, or he would be playing before or after us.
Right.
So then the older kids, whenever the younger brothers were playing, then we'd be over there playing cup ball. Smushing up them old like wax cups.
That old cup.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It was like you said, it was wax. That thing was flammable.
Yeah. Yeah,
like he's throwing the heater.
Yeah,
some guys over there with a lit cigarette.
Yeah, but absolutely, we would play that and burn ball all the time over like by the concession stand and stuff. And
burn ball, man.
Yeah,
let me tell you a story about that. We were at school, and at Webster they had at PE they had this. It was the old gymnasium they had,
right?
But nobody ever was allowed to go in there because it was like condemned. It was like really really old, except for on the front side they had the teachers' lounge,
mm-hmm.
And my dad's office was in the back, right? So it's like super old. And my dad would remember his Thunderbird, that silver bullet. Yeah. He would drive and he would park it on purpose, like right there at the front. Like he'd just get out like he was like valeting at the school, And I remember we're playing burn ball, and I don't remember who it was, but they threw like you know how to one hop, it just shot, looked like someone shot out of a cannon. It was going toward the car, and it's only the rubber,
right.
But it's going, so it's going to do some damage, right? So I think it was one of the kids is running, and my dad's standing on the other side of the car, and you see him hawk it down, do like a Willie Mays basket catch, and then like you just see this arm hold up. I got it. But he was like, my dad's like with the glasses, like, right. and then he like caught it, and he's like, all right, let me go back to what I was here.
Yeah.
Dude, we had some. You missed out on Webster, man. That was some. I know you were there for kindergarten, but did you have? Who was the PE coach? Was it my dad, the PE coach?
Yeah,
okay.
He was.
So who was with him? Is what I mean. Like, was it Miss Cook was there? Did you have Miss Cook?
I can't really remember.
Can't remember that. Well, the reason why I say this, we had another lady there that worked, and it was Miss Bagori, and he'd have you come up there and like, Miss Bagori, my tooth is loose, and she's like, come here, and she would just either yank it out with her hand, or she would pull out pliers.
Right. Oh man. I'd love to see somebody try that.
I know. Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, we are living in a different world now.
Yes,
can you imagine?
For sure.
Oh my god.
Right. Well, yeah, and then too, I mean, then they had us doing jumping jacks and push-ups.
Yeah, we were getting ready to go to Iraq,
right?
Man.
Right. Yeah.
Who was your teacher in kindergarten? Do you remember that?
I wouldn't until you asked me, man.
Come on, Wes. You can't. It was a long time ago, guys.
It was a long time ago, man. I'm getting old.
So you said you played in middle school?
Yeah, I played
sports.
Yeah,
what'd you play?
Played basketball in middle school.
Okay.
For South Sumter. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't play any football then. Just played basketball.
Basketball.
Yep.
That's cool. Who did you play with? What other teammates you have?
That Kinley was my coach then. Fabian Wilson.
Okay. I was trying to figure out your class because I was like, what year would that be?
I graduated in 05.
05, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Fabian, I had Sylvanus McCook was on there. Trying to remember the rest. Those are two that, I played with a lot and then ended up playing football with them too.
Right.
In high school whenever I got a little bit older.
What position you play in football?
Wide receiver.
Wide receiver?
Yep. Yeah, wide receiver. Yeah, I just played my senior year.
So that was the championship year.
Well,
was that 05?
No, it was 06.
Before?
It was 06, wasn't it?
I can't remember. Well, if you didn't go,
no. In 05, we were undefeated.
Okay,
and then lost the second round of the playoffs.
Okay.
So yeah, that was 05.
But Fleming was at quarterback, right?
Yes,
okay,
Fleming, but he was a junior. That was his junior year.
Okay, that makes sense now. Okay,
yep.
So him and Carlos and
him and Carlos were both juniors. And then
who were your seniors that year in 05 with you? Your other teammates.
Let me see. Trying to remember. Nate Youngblood was there. He was a senior the same year as me. Trying to remember their position. There was a ton of juniors and sophomores that year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember any of the.
Who did we lose to? Was that Mariana, you said?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying. It's like that. See, I graduated in 2000, so the first 5 years,
right.
I was like in Orlando. I didn't even keep up with it.
Right.
Then the state championship year, I remember kind of keeping up with it, and then the next year I came back and started filming again.
Right.
And that was like Kendall Smith's senior year and all that. So. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who was there because I barely remember that myself.
Right. Yeah, that's like I said, there wasn't many like big name seniors. That most of them were the junior and the sophomore class.
Right.
But I know Fabian was a senior. He was Fabian Wilson. He was good. I know he went on and played a little bit of college ball too.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, mostly juniors and sophomores.
Did you do anything with baseball outside of high school? Did you go play college or?
Yeah, I went to Lake Sumter.
Okay.
And I played.
How was that experience?
It was good. I really enjoyed that. Mike Matulia was the head coach.
Okay.
Then he's the athletic director there now. But yeah, he was a hard coach. I loved it, but it was a good experience there.
Was Ryan Shirley there?
No, he'd already left.
He left. Okay.
Yeah, because Ryan was a senior whenever I was a freshman.
Okay.
So me and him played together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so me and him played together in high school though, because I went up to varsity my ninth grade year. So me and him, I played shortstop and he played second.
Okay.
So we got to play together for a whole year.
Gotcha.
But then he was gone. He had just left Lake Sumter whenever I went there.
Who was coaching baseball at high school then?
Brian Simmons.
Oh, Brian. Okay.
Yep.
All right. And Brian and who was the assistant? I was trying to remember who that was.
Harry Newman.
Oh, okay. Newman.
Yep.
He's my neighbor.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, good old Harry.
Yep. It was him and Harry.
Yeah.
So they were the two coaches for the varsity.
How'd you do your high school years in baseball?
I did pretty well. I mean, I started the whole time I was there. I played shortstop.
Gotcha.
Pitched and stuff. So, I mean, I had pretty good. I mean, my senior year, I think I hit 5 home runs, couple of 2 left-handed, 3 right-handed, because I switched it and played shortstop and pitched a lot. So, yeah, I mean, did pretty decent. So,
was there a game that stood out, like a game that you could tell us about, like it could be like funny, or I mean, like, you know what I'm saying, like something that you'll like, man, I'll never forget that game.
Well, I mean, probably one of the biggest ones was my senior year. We won the district championship, which was the first time since Alan Shirley was a senior, and they won the district championship.
Gotcha.
So we had won. That was 05, and we were playing Pasco. We beat Hernando the first round, and then for the district championship, we were playing Pasco, and we were playing a kid. I'm trying to remember his name now. He's a big, tall, left-handed kid. He ended up playing like 3 or 4 years for the Phillies, and he was like their number 1 pitcher. He was a junior because he was a year younger than me. Yeah, he was big, tall, left-handed. I think he was like 6'2". He was throwing like 91. And so we played against them, and I was pitching against him, and I pitched a complete game, and he pitched a complete game. But I ended up having a 2-run double off the fence, and we ended up winning the game 3-1 against them and won the district championship. And that's one for me that always always stick out because, like I said, Pasco had a really good team, and that kid, he went on and played pro ball.
Yeah.
Played right field for the Phillies for at least 3 years, I remember.
Yeah.
So they had a good team, but that was definitely something that stuck out and, big to me. That was a good experience.
Yeah, that's like one year we played Union County and they had CJ Spiller, and we shut him down. Dude.
Oh,
you're like watching pro ball, and you're like, oh, there's CJ Spiller. Yeah, I remember playing against him.
Right.
It's like Mac Jones from the Patriots.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we played them in the semi. I guess it's a semifinal or the champion. It's the next game. You're going to the state championship, right. And that was Carson Wells' senior year, and that was. They said we were short. We weren't. To this day, it's like everybody's like, no. And I guess next time when you run the ball, you need to run it right through the back of the end zone so they know that you definitely scored.
Oh, yeah.
But
I remember that. I remember that game.
Well, every time I watch him on TV now, even when he was at Alabama, I'm like, dang it, man.
Yeah, right.
They robbed us, man. They robbed us.
Yeah, for sure.
But Lindsay Vanderwall Photography offers natural light photography for any occasion. With over 10 years of experience in the industry, we promise you professionalism and quality photography always. Affordable pricing for weddings, sports, family, and senior sessions. Contact today to book. Well, I got to ask you a few things about Major League Baseball. You said you're a Braves fan.
Yes.
So I asked you previously to come up with your all-time greatest team.
Right.
And did you do your homework?
I did my homework. I did. I tried to research some stuff, and it was hard to not put like half the team as the Braves.
Right.
But
so you can. I mean, and that's okay if you want to be a little biased. That's all right. But they had some great players. So
right.
So we'll let you go ahead and do that, and then I've got my own. All-time team too, so we can kind of compare and see if we come up with the same guys or whatever. And then I know if anybody watches it, they'll be like, "Nah, man."
Right.
But
somebody's always going to disagree, which they should. I mean,
but that's what makes it great.
Oh yeah, to try to pinpoint, I mean, the best player ever at each position is really kind of crazy to do. But and especially, I mean, you'll see is like the team that I have is a little biased towards people that I got to watch.
Right.
Because you can go back and there are great players that, you can look at their stats and you can hear stories about them and you can argue whether they're the greatest of all time. Yeah. But never getting to see them play, I can't really say one way or the other. Well, that's the best player. I would definitely have him on my team. There are some I would like to say, of course I would put Babe Ruth there, or, Mickey Mantle or something, but you've seen a few highlights and you look at their stats but it's still not somebody you got to watch or that you grew up.
Well, I think we misuse the word GOAT nowadays because the kids go, oh, he's the GOAT. I'm like, you can't be the greatest of all time and then the other guy be the greatest of all time.
Right.
There's only one greatest of all time. So I try to not categorize people. I like one of the greatest. I'll say one of the greatest.
Right.
And that's a fair point.
Or even greatest of their era.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing too. I mean, even, not baseball, but basketball, Michael Jordan has always said that, hey, he's never going to say he's the greatest player ever because he didn't get to play against Jerry West or, different players. Right. Or any of those. So, you can't say that, oh, well, he is the greatest when you never got to play against those.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's hear what you got.
So we're going to go back and forth or you want me to tell you
I'll tell you what, that'd be fair. So that way we don't forget. We got to go all the way back. So you go ahead. We're gonna start with give me your starting pitcher.
My starting pitcher. Okay, this one is tough because I love to pitch, and pitching is one of my favorite things. And growing up, like early Nolan Ryan, I got to watch some of his later in his career, and he was one of my favorite. But if I had to pick a pitcher, it would be Greg Maddux. And yes, he played for the Braves, but the reason that I chose him, that I would choose him to be my starting pitcher is how smart he is and the way that he thought about the game.
Yeah.
He even said, somebody asked him one time, because he typically only threw about 89 to 91. And they said, would you have been a better pitcher if you could have threw harder? And he's like, I could throw harder if I wanted to. He's like, but I threw hard enough to get people out. And he did. And there was times he'd say, I would tell people, hey, I'm going to throw you a 2-seam fastball right down the middle and you try to hit it.
See if you can hit it. Yeah.
Right. And he was just so smart and, and then so accurate. I mean, he has the record for the most amount of innings without giving up a walk. I mean, he
crazy stats.
He threw a complete game, 9 innings and he threw like 74 pitches for the whole game. I mean, which is just absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And so that would be my starting pitcher. He's not the hardest thrower. He's not the biggest and the most flashy. Yeah. Didn't lead in strikeouts or anything. But not only that, then he had 18 gold gloves through his career. He fielded his position. He wasn't just somebody that pitched and let everybody do other work. He was, a hard-nosed baseball player.
Right.
And that's why I enjoyed him.
Well, as a Pirate fan, I can tell you he was hard to
You're right.
he was hard to hit off of, but like you said, he was really good. Did you have a close second, like somebody like, well, if I hadn't picked him, I was going to pick this guy?
If it wasn't him, somebody I enjoyed watching who did have crazy stuff, speed and movement, was Pedro Martinez.
Okay.
Was just, and I mean, he threw a lot for Boston, which, kind of rivals. I don't care too much for them, but his stuff was amazing, and some of the things he could do with a baseball were just outstanding. So he would be a second.
Gotcha. Well, I'm gonna tell you who I got. If I were to actually pick, I mean, if you're going to go by greatest of all time, you got to go with Cy Young.
Right.
The award's named after the man.
Right.
But I didn't consider that. But that's who I would have picked. But I considered Greg Maddux as well.
Yeah.
You're talking about an 8-time All-Star. You're talking about 18-time Golden Glove Award winner. He's a World Series champ, and then he has a 4-time NL Cy Young Award. Right. So he's got 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I completely went with you on that. And I figured you being a Braves fan, you would have said that. But I was like, maybe he'll pick somebody else.
Right.
But the Pedro Martinez is a good pick.
Right.
My second would be probably Randy Johnson.
Yeah. He was fun to watch, too. Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't win. He didn't. I'll tell you this. Montreal was probably the best team that year they went on strike. But I did like the Giants as well. I think they probably would have played – I think they were in the AL, weren't they? Montreal?
Yes, they were in the AL.
So they probably would have played each other. I think they would have met in the World Series. If they hadn't went on strike. But Montreal was the best team. They had Randy Johnson. They had what was
Vladimir Guerrero.
Vlad, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, they had all the – and then there's a couple other guys I didn't write down, but those 2 guys alone, those are 2 Hall of Famers. But like you said, your Braves guys are – I mean, there's that starting rotation. Oh, yeah. Cox didn't have to do much, but go out there and look pretty and sign autographs and
absolutely
whatever.
I'll tell you one of my favorite things about Randy Johnson is the year that he was with Arizona and him and Kurt Schilling, and they ended up winning the World Series. He had pitched the day before Randy Johnson had, and Kurt Schilling came in and pitched 9 innings, and they went into extra innings. And Randy Johnson came back out instead of their closer and closed the game to win that game. And that's just like they wouldn't allow him to do that nowadays at all.
No.
I mean, now you pitch, you got to have 5 days rest, and you know what I mean. They're not doing any of that, but he came back in the bullpen and came and shut everybody down. And he had to be close to 40 then, in late 30s, because that was at the end of his career.
Yeah, he went on and played for, I think, the Giants after that too, in 08 or 09, and I think he missed that championship year. Because the Giants went like 08, 10, and 12, so every 2 years they won a championship. So I think he missed it. He was in there in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
But it's funny how like I said, I'm a big Pirates fan, and we had a bunch of guys on there that we get rid of. Then they go to some other team and they have a great season. Like you're talking about that same game. Tony Womack was a Pirate. Get rid of him. He's going to the Diamondbacks win the championship.
Right.
I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's funny is you mentioned closer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's your closer? Who's your all-time closer? And I think we're going to pick the same guy.
Probably. And he's an arch nemesis of the Braves. So it's probably the same guy, Mariano Rivera is.
No doubt.
And he's another one that, all-time saves leader. Yeah. But he basically threw a cutter. He threw a cutter and a two-seam, so it was either breaking one way or the other.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to – he would tell you, he's throwing 97 miles an hour, and it's going to break one way or the other, and he's, hit it.
Yeah.
But, he's one of those guys – especially if you were a Yankee fan, when you see him come into a game, you're just like, we got it. And as a team, as an opposing team, the Braves played him, 2 or 3 different times in the World Series in the 90s, and he comes in and you're just like, it's over. Yeah. I think I remember one game in the World Series where he blew a save when the Braves were playing him, and that's all that I remember him doing.
He also, that Diamondback here, he also lost that one too.
Yes.
But I was going to say he also has the best entrance of anybody besides the guy from the Mets that did the bullfight thing a few weeks or a few years ago. When Enter Sandman comes on, you're like, bro, this is.
Yeah.
And I never really liked, I like the Yankees, man, just because they just kept winning all the time.
Right.
They didn't win every year, but they were just like, they were always in it. And you're like, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
But he was good, yeah. And I remember, too, his very last game whenever they sent Andy Pettitte out there to take him out, instead of Joe Torre or whatever. They sent him out there to take him out, his last pitch. And that was real good. Like I said, I wasn't a big Yankees fan because they were, always.
But you like history.
I like it. And I love baseball. And and those players in those years and stuff like that, they enjoyed the game.
He's a complete class act. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not the guy that you're like, when he comes up, you're like, boom.
Right.
You're just like, man, this is awesome. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but I think it was him. They gave him a piece of cardboard, and he made a glove out of it, and that's what they used when they were kids.
Oh.
And he said it was just a piece. He said you fold it right here. Yeah. He could catch that thing, put your little pocket in there like that, and you're like, man, here we are. We have a glove at Walmart or Played Against Sports or Dick's. We can go in and get anytime we want.
Right.
These guys are playing with cardboard.
Right.
And they're happy as all get out. And he's like, man, this is what made me who I am.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that's awesome. Just like, he wouldn't have it any other way.
Right.
He said if he could do it all over again, he would. So that's crazy. But great guy.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy.
For sure.
So let's see. We'll go in order. In my order. I guess.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead.
Who you got at catcher?
Catcher, this one took me a little while. I was trying to look over a few of them, and because there are a lot of really good catchers. Most of them you kind of think about defensively. There are a couple, standout offensive players. But first, like I said, somebody I got to watch growing up a lot, and he was one of the staples is Pudge Rodriguez.
Pudge, yeah.
He was just not only defense, but he could handle the bat as well. He was close to a 300 hitter for his career. He was really good on a team that wasn't great. The Rangers had some good players during that time, but there weren't like great, but he stood in there and he did his job. And defensively, one of the best. The only one that I think probably is better defensively is, Yadi Molina, just retired. And I think the only reason that I would pick Pudge over him is Pudge had a little better bat than Molina, but defensively you could take either one.
So Molina would be your second guy?
Molina
gotcha,
would be,
okay.
Right.
All right, so both great picks. And but I'm going to go in another direction. This time I'm going to go with an all-around guy, and that's Yogi Berra.
Oh,
just because he's an 18-time All-Star winner. He's a 13-time World Series winner. Now, I know that wasn't just him.
Right.
But he contributed a lot. There's a great documentary about him if you haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah,
it's on Netflix. It's It Ain't Over Yet or something like that. Great documentary. Yogi Berra's not even his real name.
Right.
But he's been riding that alias for his entire life. And he's a 3-time AL MVP. So, I mean, it's like on this one, I went with the stats because I don't think anybody else has the amount of championships he does.
No, not even close.
Not close.
And, I mean, you could go, with him just for all of his sayings.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably the most quoted baseball player of all time. Easy.
My favorite quote of his is, they said, "What time is it?" And he said, "This. You mean right now or this time tomorrow?"
Right.
What? What are you talking about?
It's like everything he said didn't make sense, but it made sense.
But it made sense to him, and it was like they're like, "Wait a minute, let me sift through that." Yeah. Great. But he also was a great manager.
Yeah.
So a couple of those championships that he got as well are from, like, he was on the 69 Mets.
Right.
As a manager. So he was Mets and Yankees he was a New York guy all the way through, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Because I don't think that would happen in today's world.
Yeah. And I mean, and he wasn't a big guy at all.
No.
And then also to play catcher for that many years as he played, that's just remarkable in itself.
Oh, yeah. They said this guy looks, who's the funny looking guy behind the plate? And then, I remember it was Joe DiMaggio or something when he went up to get a hit. First hit he hit, I think he was a home run.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Right. Yeah.
I think this guy can play. I mean, we'll find him.
Right.
We'll find a spot for him on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's stuck in there.
Right. So my close second was Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
Mike Piazza was like a freaking beast.
He was a beast. He could kill the ball. Yeah.
And then when Roger Clemens threw that bat at him.
Oh, yeah. That's them two, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They went at it. Oh my gosh.
They did. And it was him too, I think, who started the thing with Chipper. Whenever they would come to New York, they would call him Larry. He was one who said, I'm not calling a grown man Chipper. Yeah. And so
called him Larry.
Right. And so there was Larry signs in New York all the time whenever the Braves would play there.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he was the one who started that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Piazza, I've rooted for him on that Subway Series in 2000. I was like, man, the Yankees just won the year before. I'm like, let somebody else win it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was hoping the Mets could pull through, but they just didn't have the guys. Didn't have Mariano Rivera and Jeter and all them. Okay, so that was our catcher. Let's see. We'll go with first baseman now.
Okay. First base. There was a couple. First base is kind of because so many of them play first base and switch to DH. And since we are doing a DH later, then
save it.
Right. So I was able to because first base is tough, man, because there are a lot of people that put up some huge numbers, especially offensively, because first base is more of an offensive position. Most people can field first base good enough that, especially in the National League before they came out with the DH, they're like, we got a big guy that can hit. If he can catch the majority of the balls, we're going to stick him over at first base.
Right.
But Albert Pujols is mine. I mean, he's, from the amount of years that he played, and then, at that position, he leads almost every single offensive category at first base. And he's another one who just day in and day out, you never heard anything from, as he just went out there and just played and seemed to love the game, and his swing is so compact and just so smooth. I mean, everything he did, he just made look effortless at the plate. And that's he's one, man, that I've loved watching. I mean, he seemed to play for forever.
Yeah.
And he was fun to watch. So he was my definite number one there at first base.
Yeah, as being on the Cardinals, I'm like, man, this guy, get rid of this guy.
Right. Yeah.
Trade him to the AL or something.
Yeah, because y'all saw a lot of him.
Oh, every year, every other month.
Well, yeah, because I mean, then now they've kind of swithed it up where everybody pretty much plays everybody now. Yeah. But I mean, it used to then. I mean, you played your divisional teams, three times as much as anybody else. So you were seeing them every other week. It's
it's unbelievable, and he was just such a great power hitter.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, all parts of the field. Like, he wasn't just a pull hitter or anything like that.
No.
Wherever you threw it, he was going to hit it, and he was going to hit it hard.
Yeah. Do you have a close second, first base?
Well, at first base, I won't go with my DH, but the close second would probably be Fred McGriff.
Okay. There's another Brave guy.
There's another Brave guy, but
Brave guy / Rays guy.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But he was one who was just solid too. But he had a great glove.
Yeah.
I mean, he was super good defensively at first base as well, and then put up solid numbers every year. I liked him a lot. Another one. Freddie Freeman, he hasn't finished his career and stuff yet, but he's one that you're going to look back on, in 10 years down the road, and you're going to say, he's top 5 first baseman of all time, and he's just got a great attitude and fun guy to watch too.
Yeah, I got into a riff with someone. I said, "Man, Josh Bell was the better first baseman on the All Stars." Right, and they're like, and Freeman got the nod, and I was like, you gotta be kidding. Yeah, this guy has an outstanding year, like standout year, and Freeman's just like, I'm just gonna take it from you. Yeah, right. Yeah, but he was. I'll say this: Freddie Freeman is one of them guys that when he's on, he's on. Oh yeah, you're not. He's not going to mess up. Right. Kind of like how Chipper was, or Jeter. Right. He's one of them guys that he's a staple in the offense. Defensively, he's just sound. Well, let's see. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go back. Again, and I'm not going to do a guy anybody. Well, I'll say this: Lou Gehrig. Yeah, I mean, went around for him, but traditionally he's probably, one of the better first basemen. Oh yeah, for sure. Again, we're going to go with of all time, so I'm going to spread it out. He was a 7-time All-Star, 6-time World Series champ. I mean, to have credentials like that now. I mean, those are the guys you say those are the greatest of all time. You know what I mean? But I will say, and he also hit 4 home runs in one game. Right. Something like that. Yeah. Dude,
that's not easy to do.
Quit pitching this guy. Right. I don't think they intentionally walked anybody.
No, they didn't. It was like, if you hit off me, you hit off me. We're going to throw whatever we got.
Do you think seeing the intentional walk for the first time, it was like first time you saw an alley-oop, you're like, what was that?
Right, yeah. I mean, they had to be because...
Yeah, that's crazy. So he's my first baseman, but the second close one would be... Dude, I love Frank Thomas. Love me some Frank Thomas. Big Hurt, bro.
Oh, man.
Love me some Frank Thomas, man.
Yeah. I remember him and someone similar who I enjoyed watching during that era, too, was Jim Thome.
Oh, yeah.
For the Indians, man. He would just hit some shots, too.
He would be a good DH.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both of them were the just swing out of your shoes kind of guys.
Yes.
And so they were both fun to watch.
And you either look really good or really stupid. Right. You're swinging so hard.
Yeah.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with them. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store.
Second baseman.
Second base was the hardest.
It's kind of it's like a dime a dozen, man. Everybody's good. But you're like,
really. I mean, even looking over it, I kind of had a few people that I was thinking of, and tried to look at some stats and stuff like that, and it was just like, man, there's not a lot of people that really, really just stand out huge. But Roberto Alomar is mine. And the main reason for him, I remember watching him towards the end of his career, but his glove, he's won the most gold gloves at second base. He had 10 gold gloves. And then he played, when I remember him a lot, was when he was with the Indians, and he played with Omar Vizquel shortstop.
Yeah.
And the two of them up the middle, you can go and look at highlight after highlight, and they were just
turning two after another.
Yeah, but the camaraderie that they had, even though they were only together like 3 or 4 years, the things that they did up the middle, and from me playing shortstop, and I played a little bit of second base in college too, from playing up the middle, when you get a guy that you're used to like that, and you see some of the plays they're making, then he was somebody who just stood out, and he was solid offensively and stuff too, but really his defense was just outstanding, and it was so smooth and just so fun to watch. So he's one at second base that I would say, I put him there. He's locked down, and he's going to give me the defense I need.
Do you have a close second?
One that I'm not even going to be able to tell you the stats or anything like that, but Craig Biggio, man, was one who was just like a super hard-nosed player. I remember watching a ton on that Astros team that had Bagwell and Bell.
The Killer Bees.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was a good team, but he's somebody who started out at catcher, Biggio was, and played there for a few years, and his bat was decent, and his knees were, they said his knees and stuff were bothering him, so he ended up moving to second base, and then did great at second base. And that's not a real easy transition as a player to go from one position to another and still be able to perform at a major league level. And so from him going to catcher to second and then playing several years there on a competitive team is saying a lot about a player too.
Oh yeah. Again, I'm going to go. I went with the top player that was recommended, and that was Roger Hornsby.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a few stats on him. He's a 7-time NL batting champion and a World Series champion.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got the credentials. Of course, he was way before we were born.
Right.
But I just couldn't make my mind up with the second baseman. That was the hardest one. And I've seen some really good players at second, but second's just like, it's a weird position, man, because I don't know.
What's your best that you've watched during your era of watching?
Oh, man. I would probably say Bagwell. Biggio, or Baggio, whatever. Craig Biggio. I would say him. He was a really I remember watching them. That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
I watched them. I was even looking at the Pirates, and they got Bill Mazeroski. He's just known for a famous home run.
Right.
I mean, he was a great player, all-star.
Yeah.
But
Chase Utley for the Phillies was good during that time too. A little later, like mid or early 2000s stuff. Chase Utley was a good player.
Yeah,
I enjoyed watching him. He had a pretty good bat.
Yeah. But really nobody stood out like, man, that's like the best guy ever. Like I said, second base is just a hard position for me to pick. I love playing it as a kid. I love second base, but it's just like, it's a weird.
Yeah, it is.
It's a weird area.
A lot of people kind of get shuffled around there. And like I said, you got a decent glove and, somebody with a decent stick, but it's really not like a standout position as far as stats go.
Yeah, and I really don't. It's almost like in baseball, second baseman's almost like like, who's your favorite defensive lineman? I mean,
Right.
It's a person you need, but there's really not a lot of guys that you can like name off.
Right.
But
somebody who, if they continue playing like they've been playing Jose Altuve in 10 or 15 years, you're going to look back and say he's probably one of the best second basemen of all time. Not only just, the way that he hits during the regular season, but like his postseason numbers when the games matter are crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that is really going to stand out in his career, when you look back in 10 or 15 years on that.
Moving over to the other side of the diamond, shortstop. Yes.
Yeah. Shortstop, that's one that is loaded with people, and you can go look back at tons of stuff. And this one again is just pure grit, is Derek Jeter. I mean, to watch him play through the 90s and some of the stuff he did, like if you go back and you look at his stats, he's consistent. I mean, he's got good numbers. I mean, obviously he's, Hall of Fame numbers. But if you compare him to some of the other shortstops, I mean, even Alex Rodriguez, who played with him, and then, I mean, Cal Ripken Jr., you look at him, somebody who's, holds record for the most games played and stuff, and, was a lot bigger guy, had a few more home runs and stuff like that. But to just watch them play and the way that Derek Jeter played the game and how hard he played, you can't replace that. I mean, no matter what the numbers say, that's somebody that you want on your team, especially when the game's on the line.
Yeah, I totally agree. Did you have a second guy?
Second guy, I would probably go like Nomar Garciaparra. I used to love watching him, and he was number 5. I had number 5 all the way through high school and stuff too. He was somebody who was solid with a great glove and everything like that. And then I loved, they called him the human rain delay, how he would just mess with. He had the ritual every time he'd step out of the box. He wouldn't be able to do that now because of the time clock. But he would move his helmet. He would adjust both bat and gloves, adjust both wristbands. He would pull, it was like something like 18 seconds every time he stepped out of the box and to step back in. It was the same thing, routine. But he was a fun player to watch. And he actually, when I was looking at some of his stats, like I didn't really think that he was, that great stat-wise, but he's actually got really good numbers. Yeah. But he was a fun guy to watch, and I remember watching him a lot growing up.
Do you think that time clocks made – I don't know. I thought it was just me, but it's made the game a little more fair. Like, and the reason why I say that is because, like you said, you're not delaying it, so it's like you have to be ready. So it's like it's getting people in the right position.
I don't know that I would say fair, but I thought, always baseball, is kind of like a purist sport. People are like, we don't want to change anything. And when they first came out with that rule, anytime they come out with a no rule, I'm like, I don't know. But after going to a couple games after they implemented that and it moving the games along quicker, I think that it is going to help the fan base. And I do enjoy that it moves the game along a little quicker and keeps some of the guys from trying to play, say, mind games or whatever, trying to ice the pitcher, just taking their time because they want to. I like it. I didn't know that I would like it at first, but I think it moves the game along better.
Well, I think people are taking more chances at bats.
Yes.
I mean, because you're going to swing a little bit at more.
Right.
Than you would normally, because you're like, all right, I'm just gonna sit back here and watch. But now it's like, oh god, okay. Then you kind of have to remember what's the pitch count,
right?
Where am I right now? What's going on? Who's on? Okay, I need to do something. I got to get this guy in, or what? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, that's what I mean. Like I didn't mean like fair, but I'm like, it's changed it up to where it's like, I don't know. It just seems like you give the other team a little more of a edge.
I think is an advantage towards the pitcher.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, most pitchers aren't like trying to take a ton. So, even before that, their catcher's throwing the ball back. They're usually on the rubber pretty quick, getting ready to get their signs. And the batters were always the one, pitchers are usually waiting on the hitters.
Right.
And now the hitters are like, okay, I have to get back in there because there's a time limit, and the pitchers are ready, and they're like, let's go. Now you're on mine, now you're on my time. So then I can throw when I want to. And so I think it's an advantage to the pitchers personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, it kind of puts them in their realm. And then when they're ready to go, I mean, the pitcher has to throw it regardless.
Right.
I mean, because, and on the flip side of that, going back to what you said about them taking their time, pitcher would get up there and be like, then step off the mound like, all right, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So it does work both ways.
Right.
But I agree with you. I picked Jeter as well. I don't think anybody else is. I mean, obviously the older Yankees, obviously they're hard to compete with, but someone that has made such an impact on the sport, it doesn't matter where you are. If you see Derek Jeter or somebody wearing a jersey, you know who that is.
Oh yeah.
So to me, I feel like that's our modern, like, Babe Ruth.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm not comparing him to Babe Ruth, but popularity wise, yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Go look at his autographs. You can't get an autograph under $500.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm saying it could be more, but you're not going to get it cheap. You know what I mean? That's like, now you get a Mickey Mantle for $6.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, but like you're saying, if you go to somebody who's never watched a baseball game ever and you say Derek Jeter, they're going to know who you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Like if you go to somebody who's never watched a basketball game and you say Michael Jordan, they're going to know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's one of those type of players.
It's a household name.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, I have two close guys. One, you mentioned Cal Ripken, because I did get to watch him play.
Right.
And Mr. Consistency, I mean, he was all over it. But another guy who got shuffled underneath and he was, I mean, again, being a Pirate fan, I had to see him quite a bit with the Reds.
Right.
With Barry Larkin.
Oh, yeah.
Barry Larkin was unbelievable.
Yes.
And you talk about a staple in the defense. That guy, I remember being at Three Rivers, Pirates playing the Reds. This joker is catching everything. I mean, you can't hit it past him. And he was like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, you're just like, man, take a night off or something. You know what I mean? Well, you got to be playing against us. You know? But it was like, but a lot of people forget about guys like that.
No, he was definitely really solid.
When you're talking about Jeff Bagwell, I'm like, dude, that's, guys like that. But I'm not saying of course, that's why I didn't say he was the greatest of all time, but a guy that gets overshadowed.
Right, absolutely.
Thanks for watching part 1 of this 2-part segment. Stay tuned for part 2.